Gilmore. They call him the boat, as well as we got Renee Young sitting in with us here today, guys. We're just chopping it up, coming off a huge weekend, 2 days, man, 2 days of WrestleMania. Too big for just one night. Wait a minute, let me repeat that. Too big for just one night.
Gotta hit it, man.
To make sure I get that plug in there.
But isn't it crazy? I mean, we've been saying that for some time. Too big for just one night. And maybe we were a little bit like, all right, it's too big for one night. What's it going to be? But truly, it kind of was too big for just one night.
Yeah. I tell you, if they would have tried to do that thing in one night, man, we'd have been up all night long.
Well, technically, WrestleMania last year went in past midnight, so it was too big for one night last time.
It was kind of nice to have a little bit of a break in between, get a rest, cook some food in between, and then get set for the second night of it all. I enjoyed it.
You know what? Thing is, the first night. What you like best, the first night or the second night?
Ooh, that's a tough call. I mean, I think I have to go with the first night.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Boneyard match, I mean, that stole the show. People absolutely loved it. I loved that. No one knew what to expect from it, if it was going to be good.
Shut that dog up. Shut that dog up.
Every time I'm talking to you, my dog starts barking. Every time I'm switching rooms, going to the backyard. But also, here's another match that I think stole the show was Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan for the Intercontinental title. It was unbelievable. Loved that match.
I must say, man, Sami Zayn is an artist, man. I mean, you put him in he's like one of those guys, man. He's a utility guy. You put him in this position, he'll make it work. You put him in this position, he'll make it work. It don't matter what position you put Sami Zayn in, he's going to rise to the occasion. And that's the mark of a great worker, a guy that's going to be around this business for a long time. Bradley, what you think about Sami Zayn?
I'm with you on Sami Zayn 100%. I think that he's a guy who, I don't know if he's been given the ball all the way. And I think recently with his, with Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura kind of all surrounding him, he's gotten a chance to flourish and show that he can take the ball and run with it. And put him up against a guy like Daniel, I don't know if you can have a bad match.
Well, it's also like you look at what Bryan and what Sami's been able to do, but like you said, I mean, the work that Sami Zayn has been doing, even just being the manager for Shinsuke and working with Cesaro, was like he flourished in that role, and I think that really put a spotlight on just how good he is in certain situations you put him in. Then you're in an empty arena match with Daniel Bryan, and it was honestly like two artists on a blank canvas, and you could tell that they were just thriving in that environment of being able to see what they could do and what kind of a story they could pull off with an empty arena. And you could tell that they were enjoying themselves.
I say Shinsuke and Sami Zayn, they're like Flavor Flav and Chuck D.
Flavor Flav.
No, I'm serious, man. I mean, because like I say, the guy definitely you put him in a role and he'll flourish, and now he's champion. And I don't know what's the deal. He's like, he just said, forget about getting any wrestling gear. I'm going to just go to the Army surplus and pick up, a hat.
Like, I'm kind of into it.
He looks
like his weird military pants.
He reminds me of Manuel Noriega. And I hate to make the comparison. But he definitely has flourished, man.
I think Sami Zayn working as a heel too just works so well for him. The way he sells as a heel is endlessly entertaining to me.
I think so too. As far as the internet, man, the internet is going crazy right now.
What's the internet saying?
What's crazy is the majority of the internet, they like, many aspects of what they got from WrestleMania. And this is my thing, man. Can you imagine if we were in an arena with 50 to 60 to 70,000 people with these matches that we had on the card? The crowd would have been good. That ladder match was something special. And when you put three guys in there that just got to go out and create due to circumstances, my partner can't make it, your partner, hey, let's just do this here and make it for this. And let's just go out and give the crowd something that they would have, relished if it was a crowd there. But I say, man, big ups to each and every one of those guys that went out there and pulled that ladder match off, because this is the thing right here. Not having a crowd is one thing, but still putting your body through the same pain, that's something totally different. You ain't got that adrenaline rush, you know what I mean? That euphoric feeling because you hear the crowd, go crazy at a certain point. That right there, man, it just let me, not even that. I mean, also, coming off the sign,
my God,
man. I mean, come on, man. Owens, man. Owens went out there and rocked it, and that's my thing. This WrestleMania may have been different than any other WrestleMania, but I think people are going to remember it and say, man, I really appreciate WrestleMania still going on, still staying consecutive, and not breaking the streak.
Yeah, and you talk about the internet and what people are saying, and I think there was a lot of people that were skeptical about how the show was going to turn out. Did we need 2 nights? And I think like the overall feel walking away from it was like, man, what a great show front to back. I mean, you got to give props to WWE's production crew looking at what they did with that Boneyard match, with the Firefly Funhouse match. And then, like you said, you look at the talent, you've got the superstars working their asses off with no crowd, no adrenaline. Yeah. Charlotte and Rhea are another example.
Man, awesome. Yeah.
The hell out of each other.
Yeah. I was listening to Charlotte talk. I was actually reading something earlier today, and she said it was like doing a movie, with no crowd there. And that's definitely a place you can put yourself and say, hey, man, let me just go out here and see how much I can expand on how good I really am. And being put in that situation, I give Shayna Baszler credit too, because Shayna Baszler, I was one of Shayna Baszler's biggest critics going into the thing. I was like, man, I don't know if she's ready for this spot. But I remember back in the day, my first pay-per-view, it was here in Houston, War Games, and Big Van Vader, he was in the pay-per-view. I was actually on Big Van Vader's side, and I remember being in like one of the little hallways at Center Stage in Atlanta, Georgia, and Vader, he asked me, he goes, man, do you really think you're ready for this? Because it was my first pay-per-view match. And I go, man, I've been training for this for the last 2 years. You're damn right I'm ready. You know what I mean? And Shayna Baszler seemed like she was that same way. It seemed like she'd been training and getting ready for this moment. And then being put in that position, she went out there and shined. So I give Shayna Baszler a whole lot of credit.
Yeah, and I don't think that she gets enough credit for how much work she had already done behind the scenes before ever even signing to WWE. It's like people are aware of her MMA background. But, I think Ember Moon was talking about it with us at Backstage before about Shayna had worked in the independent scene for a little bit and had got in her reps and busted her ass in every aspect that she possibly could. So I don't think she would be the kind of person that would take a WrestleMania matchup for a championship lightly. I mean, she was raring to go.
I've been listening to people talk. I saw AEW. They shut down operations, right? Yeah. As far as going forward. And I was wondering, as far as WWE, I don't think they're going to shut down the operation or anything, but what do you think about this cinematic, this Hollywood way of working, man? Like with the Boneyard match, like with the Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse match. I can see so many more of these kind of matches the way we're doing TV right now until we get back on track. What do you think about that?
The way that it worked out, it was like, it could have been super cheesy. It could have been not good. But both matches, you watch a Boneyard match and just the different camera angles that were done, the music that was used, that undertone of like that pulse that was going through, that was not overbearing. I mean, you could kind of see some fresh eyes. I don't know who shot that. I don't really know who was behind the creative of that, but I think it definitely made a lot of people like, you could see a lot of people being like, man, I want to see cinematic style wrestling matches. And then to see the way that the Firefly Funhouse came together, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be, sort of a riff on what we saw the night before with the Boneyard match, but it was completely different. I mean, I think people really get to let their creative juices flow during this and make something special happen.
What got me was Mick Foley's post,
What are you
he goes, Mr. McMahon, may I please be in the next year's WrestleMania Boneyard match?
Well, I did see
And he
a
just
lot of
kept
people.
running it on. It was just on a loop. He just kept saying it.
How much
over
did we
and over.
need a match like that from Undertaker, though? I mean, we've seen Undertaker in, maybe some less favorable situations. I mean, ever since the streak was broken at WrestleMania and kind of wondering what was next, what was going to happen, then to see him come out in like the American badass style of Undertaker, and he just shone so much in that matchup. It was like it didn't look like he missed a beat. He was back.
Yeah, AJ Styles, man. Give it up for AJ Styles, man, because
100%.
I tell you, AJ went out and pulled off a great one. And the part I like was when they were calling each other by their real names. Come on, Alan. Well, it was so funny.
I did enjoy that.
I was like,
The hand sticking out at the very end was my favorite thing. I loved that.
no.
Do you think though it could open up? Because I saw a lot of people online talking about more Boneyard style matches going forward. Could this be the way that we finally get that Undertaker Sting dream match? Could we see it in the Boneyard? Is that the way we finally get it?
Wow. You know what?
Possibly.
I never thought about that. Renee, what you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think now that we know that matches like that can be executed and that they're so well received, I think it can kind of be looked at two ways, that either they need to be saved and not be overdone and keep them very special. Obviously, an Undertaker Sting situation would fall under that category. But is it a thing that we want to see all the time? I don't know. I think it's something that maybe needs to be kept a little bit more special and reserved for these occasions. But if it's a thing that ends up happening at WrestleMania is to keep the lore of the Undertaker existing at WrestleMania, as I think that it should, yeah, I'm all for it.
People always, wonder, man, are they going to ever see that match, Sting against The Undertaker? And this would be a way to actually go out there and do it, because I don't think The Undertaker took one bump.
No.
Nope.
That's the beauty.
Whatever happened,
That's the beauty of being able to go out there and create magic. And I tell you, this is where I thought WWE was really going to shine and really bring out the machine and the magic. I go back to when, they did the hologram Bray Wyatt thing back, and it was like so awesome. I was like, man, this is some cool stuff right here, and they got the ability to be able to, do so many different things. And with this time that we're going through right now, they're definitely going to have to shift gears as far as, being able to go out there and create TV, create good content, because just the wrestling matches in empty arenas, we can only do that, I think, for so long. But to be creative like they did with that Boneyard match and that Firefly match was just something. I was wishing King Booker could have had one of those kind of matches right there.
We know that you have another match in you, book.
For sure.
Big Daddy Laddie is good to go. He's ready to be booked. We thought we were going to see him at Rumble. It didn't happen, but you've got it in you.
No, man. But how you feeling down there? How you guys holding up down in Vegas?
Good. I mean, we've just been staying at home and kind of doing our own thing. And like I said, I mean, it was nice to just be at home and watch WrestleMania as a fan. It was cool to watch it from that aspect. I mean, I've not done that in the past 7 years. So to just be able to sit here and observe and enjoy WWE for what it is, with being a bit removed from it's been awesome. But yeah, I mean, other than that, just trying to stay healthy and stay safe and social distancing, baby. It's
crazy, man. It's crazy, but I agree with you. This is the first WrestleMania that I've missed in quite some time, and it definitely was a lot less taxing on the body.
Yeah, right?
But I'm gonna tell you right now, man, I missed that Russell card money, man. That money was gonna be good, man. I missed that card money, man.
A lot of people are missing that money.
Yeah. I'm serious, but I know you probably got a lot of things to do. And tomorrow night, WWE Backstage, we're gonna be running down the whole thing, man. We're down with WrestleMania. So guys, tune in. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. You're going to see your host, Renee Young, and your co-host, Booker T, doing it like it's supposed to be done. Making all them suckers bow down. Making them say, Daddy, we don't want none. No more.
Caviar dreams, of course. And a lot of people gave y'all's props for actually dressing up, even via Skype.
That's the way we do it.
Two different outfits,
but Mark Henry was looking like a bum.
That sexual little chocolate shirt. Man. And then
Hey,
we got
man.
Kristen with his turtleneck.
Hey, girl. I'll see you tomorrow. I know you got some good cooking to do tonight, but I'll see you tomorrow.
Right, I do.
Have 5-layer dip for everybody.
Bye, guys.
Take care, Renee.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm serious.
It was. Did you see Renee's Instagram yesterday by chance? She was making all kinds of. I think she made like Boneyard themed cookies, 5-layer dip, F5-layer dip.
I saw the Boneyard ribs. They look burnt.
Well, they looked a lot more delectable than Freddie Prinze's brisket that he put on Twitter the other week. So,
oh man,
you can only reap what you sow.
Man, I'm serious, man. I mean, he looked like he cooked that on top of the charcoals.
Oh man, oh you gotta love it. Gotta love it. Real quick, before we jump into it, we had a couple super chats. Just want to shout out Jordan Culberson said the Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens match was great. Boneyard was great. Funhouse match was a testament to drugs, and Shayna should have won. That's not just saying that because I practice catch wrestling. Appreciate that super chat, Jordan. We got Jordan came in with another one. If they want to do an empty arena match, go back and watch Terry Funk versus Jerry Lawler in 1981 Memphis. I actually seen that match. It was pretty good.
What was it?
A pretty good match.
A lot of blood.
Yeah.
Was a lot of blood.
There was a little blood, I think. I remember Terry.
Terry Funk match it's always going to be blood in a Terry Funk match.
Yeah, I think Terry did a pile driver on top of a table, but it didn't break to Lawler. Crazy stuff back in the day. But look, I mean, it was great to have Renee on to kick off the broadcast. We definitely gave like an overview of WrestleMania, but how was it for you? You know, watching someone who competed your first WrestleMania 18 against Edge, and then to go, I think you went 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, I believe, or 23, and then came back at 28. You've been a part of so many. You've been on the call for so many. This time, you sat at home and watched it over 2 nights. Like, what was your initial reaction?
Well, I enjoyed being at home. First and foremost. No, seriously, I mean, due to the circumstances and whatnot, I did enjoy being at home and watching WrestleMania from the, comforts of home, but you want to be out there too. You know what I mean? You want to be there. You want to be,
right
among the, 70,000 or whatever, and be a part of that WrestleMania experience. It's always been the experience of, being a part of the show. This year was a little different, but what I take away from it, like I say, is still a success in so many different ways, because those guys that went out there and performed, they're going to get paid, of course. Those guys that went out there performed, they gave the crowd a chance to, escape there for a second, and the thing is, just like I was talking to Renee a second ago about, guys like Kevin Owens coming off the sign, guys going out there in that ladder match, Seth Rollins, grinding, man, those guys went out there and they were like Renee said, they worked their asses off, and the crowd, it was all to give them a moment of a distraction of what's going on right now. So I say it was a success, man. I mean, the innovative way of, doing matches, such as the Boneyard match. We wondered what the Undertaker and AJ was going to do. Were they going to come out there and just have an empty arena match? I don't think the empty arena match would have did AJ and the Undertaker any justice. But for them to actually pull off a mini movie, that was pretty awesome. That you could follow the storyline and understand it, even from when the OCs came out, from when the Druids turned on the Undertaker.
That was good.
No, I'm serious. You know what I mean? It was like everything in that. To actually the Undertaker getting ready to get buried, and then to show up behind. Everything was as cinematic for me as I wanted it to be, because I always have been able to suspend my imagination and watch wrestling for what it is: entertainment, world wrestling entertainment. That's the way I've always been able to watch it. So when somebody give me a car chase and the car, hit the heel and turn, 3 rotations and then still keep going, I love it. You know what I mean? Give me more and more Fast and Furious.
Right.
And that's what we got a chance to see at WrestleMania. That's why I say, should we get more cinematic matches, going forward. I heard Matt Hardy talking about, these kind of matches, before, and now to actually be able to see them, happening, it's pretty cool.
I think that going into night one, WrestleMania, I didn't know what to expect without there being any crowd there. And I will say, when the Boneyard match finally came up, I was like, man, I don't know what this is going to be. Like, I don't know if they're going to be able to pull this off. Like, we didn't even know what a Boneyard match was. We were still trying to figure out what are the rules, what does it mean? No one really knows. And as soon as it started, and you saw AJ come out of that coffin, right? You had the old Undertaker music playing. AJ rises up out of the coffin, and he he starts laughing, and the Druids are there, and then Undertaker came in on the bike. That's when it sold me. When Taker came in on the bike and he got off, he had the bandana on. He looked like an action star. He looked like an action hero from a movie from the 80s or something, And he got off the motorcycle, and then that, like you said, hey, Alan, where you at, Alan?
Yeah.
And then they start going into it. I was sold. I really was surprised by how much I liked it. And then when they start chasing each other up on top of the roof, and Taker's tombstoning guys, and he choke slams AJ off the top through the thing, and I think that you couldn't have asked for a better match. And I saw Kurt Angle say something about he and Undertaker had a conversation a couple months ago, and Undertaker was a little bit underwhelmed, as was Goldberg, who talked about on this match on our show with their match in Saudi Arabia. He said, I need to redeem myself. And it was Kurt's idea. He said, you should have a match with AJ. He doesn't have a bad match with anybody. This is probably not the idea that they originally had to go to this Boneyard match. When you think AJ Styles versus The Undertaker, you're thinking, man, AJ is going to be working his butt off with Taker there in the 20-by-20 WrestleMania, 70,000 people. But for AJ Styles and Undertaker to go out there, and in my opinion, especially on that first night, steal the show, that's a big notch in the belt for both those guys. And I know Undertaker has to be happy with the reaction that he's gotten from this match. Yeah,
it's crazy, man. I'm sure he's happy about it because it's the first time it's ever been done. And for the first time for it to be done, and Undertaker's a part of it, as well as for it to be a success, is huge. It's huge. They say it took 8 hours to shoot that whole thing. Yeah. And it trips me out because I think with Stone Cold Steve Austin and I in the grocery store, it took us about 10 minutes.
One shot.
one shot. That thing was done. So it's crazy to see how television has advanced to that point now to where we can be able to go out there and do that kind of stuff and give those kind of, but I think it's all due to what's going on right now with this corona virus out there. You got to try to find a way to be, still be able to give fans, a little bit of something, just like me right now, Taco Tuesday, you know what I mean? I'm getting ready to do some raised ribs Wednesday, and then I'm going to throw it out on Thursday with some chicken wings or something, I'm just going to just throw anything out there and see what sticks. But that's what you got to do right now. WWE did a hell of a job at WrestleMania. I loved it.
Do you think, because after WrestleMania last night, they showed like a little highlight of Undertaker The Last Ride, a documentary series about him winding down on his career. If you're The Undertaker and you just went out at WrestleMania 36 after competing in your first one at WrestleMania 7, you just went out at WrestleMania 36. In 30 years you've only missed like 3 WrestleManias. You went out there and you have the match that everybody is talking about as their favorite match from the entire WrestleMania card. How do you not look at it and say, you know what? Let me Peyton Manning Super Bowl this thing and say, I had the best match on WrestleMania. Maybe this is it. Maybe I back up here. Maybe the Boneyard is the last time you see The Undertaker. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but would it be the wrong move to make?
I think so. I think the Undertaker still got a little left in the tank, as well as if we did not see The Undertaker at next year's WrestleMania, we'll feel like we missed something. We're like, man, this WrestleMania was different. Undertaker wasn't here, So I think just like The Undertaker said, when they did that profile on him, I think The Undertaker is going to be around as long as he can muster up the strength to walk to that ring. And I think that's pretty much going to sum it up right there. If he can do that, he's gonna show up. Because sometimes, this business, man, is tricky. It's different than any other animal. I mean, this drug is so powerful. I'm not saying that he can't walk away from it or anything like that, but when it's all over with, it's over. It's done. And like you just said there a second ago, 30 years, the Undertaker been walking that out. 30 years is a lifetime for a lot of people. You know what I mean? So I say, if it's something that he loves and it's something that he can will himself to actually, do, I say do it until you can't do it no more. Jerry Lawler right now is what, 75?
He's in his 70s.
Yeah, and he's still out there doing shows. He's still getting booked on matches. Bullet Bob Armstrong, he's dealing with cancer right now. He actually refused to take treatment for it. And Bullet Bob is like in his 80s. And the photo that he posted on social media was him in the gym on the lap pool. You know what I mean? Still putting in work. You know what I mean? So certain guys that have walked this lifestyle, you can't tell them when it's time to quit. It'll be time, and when that time comes, trust me, I think they'll know it.
Yeah, I think that with Taker though too, with his personality, his character, you can have endless amounts of things that you can do with him, and I think this Boneyard match was the latest illustration of that. Of just when you think Undertaker can't go out there and do it anymore, he goes out and has the best. He had, in my opinion, that was the best match on WrestleMania. It wasn't the most traditional match. Sure, it was cinematic. There was 8 hours with cuts and edits and all this. It was my favorite match from the show. And I just got to give big kudos to Undertaker and AJ Styles for pulling that off. I mean, it was really so much fun.
It was my favorite match of the show, I think, as well. I think it was the best match. The best, I wouldn't even call it a match. I don't know what to call it, but it was the best part of WrestleMania for me. That's what these guys going out, and it looked like a good fight. Now, it looked like a great movie. And the thing is, what I like about movies is you give a guy one shot and he go away. If you remember those Druids, Taker hit those guys one time and they disappeared. Just like on the Blade, Blade cut somebody, they just implode, So it was like that. So for me watching it, it's really, really cool. It was really, really cool. And hopefully, like I said, we'll see a whole lot more of, stuff like that going forward. I think a lot of guys missed out on the show just due to certain reasons. And I'm sure they were at home watching it going, man, I wish I was there, man. Bobby Lashley. How'd you like the Bobby Lashley thing?
It was a little weird. I got to be honest with you. I like Aleister Black a lot.
I hate to finish. I just didn't understand.
The finish is what I didn't like.
The match was all right for me, but then it just goes to show, you could say he just goes to show how pussy whooped Bobby Lashley is.
We are on the internet.
We're on the internet now. So when you start listening to your woman that magnitude, she got some good stuff. So right now, Bobby Lashley, he's listening, at will. He ain't cut no corners, man. Whatever this woman say, I'm gonna listen. You know what I mean? So he did make a bad mistake.
Oh, yeah. That was the thing I didn't like. On paper, I didn't realize until I saw them both walk out. I liked the matchup of those two guys, though. The story of it's like you had Bobby Lashley, legit MMA guy, jacked, looks like a fighter. Come out. I like his long tights too. I like him in the long tights.
I like a lot better. Yeah, I like that a lot better.
It looks a lot better. And then Aleister Black has been so great as of late. When he hits that black mask, it looks like he kills the guy. So I like the matchup on paper. I just don't know why. If you're up there and Lana's like, no, spear him, be like, all right, I'm gonna hit the Dominator.
Let me hit that first. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I get that in. But you don't need
want it, I'll get it.
Look, no backseat drive or sidewalk drive or anything. I got this. You know what I mean? And I think definitely it was a little different, But Bobby, the thing is, he sat under the learning tree. I gave this guy all my knowledge. He should have known better.
Yeah, right. I still am holding out hope for a Bobby Lashley Brock Lesnar match someday, because I just like the matchup of them on paper. But if they want to do something with Aleister and Bobby going forward, because obviously this Lana thing has to lead somewhere. She's not going to cost him a match at WrestleMania and it didn't go anywhere. I don't know if this is the way that you get Lana back with Rusev by having her. Because the thing is I was watching it last night, and Michael Cole says, there's Lana's husband, and I'm like, oh yeah, they are married on TV, right? Like, so I don't know where the story goes. I don't know if you go back with Rusev after this, if they break up, if she goes without. I don't know where Lana goes, but I feel like at Money in the Bank, if we see Money in the Bank next month, because they're still promoting it, so it sounds like it's going to go off. I'd like to see Alistair and Bobby get back into it, because see if I'm wrong here. I don't think we've seen the best that Bobby Lashley can be since he's come back. I think he's had good moments, but we haven't seen the best that Bobby can be. I think if you put Bobby in a certain situation, he can be an absolute killer and go out there and draw some real money and draw some real eyeballs. I just don't know if he's been put in the best position.
I don't know. You know what I mean? I think Bobby has been putting some great. Bobby, you remember Bobby worked with Roman? That was the best match we've seen since he's been back. I mean, he went out there, and I tell you, I was like, wow. It's one of the best matches I've seen Bobby in, period. But there again, you remember that match, and I said that just goes to show you how good Roman Reigns really is. It has, not taking away anything from Bobby or anything like that, but to actually go out and have a match like that, and Roman does it with everybody that he's in the ring with, and he makes Bobby Lashley look like, man, a superstar. Bobby didn't win that night, but his stock rose big time. And to not be able to duplicate that, I don't think we've seen the best of Bobby due to the reason Bobby needs that guy to actually be able to go out there and work with, just like when Bobby worked with me. We went out there and had some great stuff because we had really great chemistry together at the same time. And when Bobby was laying back, I would tell Bobby, man, lay it in. You know what I mean? I needed Bobby to rough me up a little bit and not be crouching like a wrestler. I said, man, I need you to stand tall. So to be able to coach, some guys need to be coached. And Bobby, like I say, they're, again, taking nothing away from Bobby. He is one of those guys that needs to be coached. He's very, very coachable. And if you give him the right direction, he's going to go out there and take it and make it a little bit better. So I just think, there again, being put with the right guys, going to get the best work. We've got so many guys, man, that's following us along right now on the live chat, man. We appreciate you guys for still hanging with us here. Hall of Fame action. We're going to be back on ESPN hopefully as soon as this pandemic is all over with, man, because I miss my Hall of Fame family, Jerry, Bo, Bradley. We just social distancing thing, man. But we will be back on track real soon, hopefully. Yeah.
So let's talk about a couple other matches because, I can't wait to be back. But what about this moment from last night? What about this? We saw Mandy Rose and Otis finally get together. Otis gave her Otis and Mandy, they exchanged, a kiss or two after she helped Otis beat Dolph Ziggler. What did you think of that?
Feel good moment, man. You know what I mean? The unexpected, always expect the unexpected. The guy least likely to get the girl. He gets the most beautiful girl in the room. So that right there was one of those stories to where I say you leave the fans with what they want. The fans want to see Otis win that match. Fans want to see, Otis and Mandy, that romantic, story tale, So I liked it. I liked it a lot. The Sonya Deville exposing Sonya Deville, for being the culprit, doing the text messaging, I'm still wondering who was the guy with the hoodie on and the two screens.
I don't know. Does anyone in the chat have any ideas? Anybody watching live?
In the chat know who that was? Please let us know. But that right there was very real. I mean, he had the voice with the gimmick on his throat and everything, So that right there was entertaining. To say the least, but I thought it was pretty good.
It was a good moment, man. I mean, do you remember? I think it was WrestleMania 7, where it was Ultimate Warrior versus Macho Man Randy Savage, and then it was the retirement match. Macho lost, but then Miss Elizabeth came out of the crowd, and they embraced again. They got back together. He had Miss Elizabeth on the thing. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know if this was on the same level by any means, but it reminded me of that.
What it reminded me of? It reminded me of. Didn't George the Animal Steel do something with the lovely Elizabeth one time going against Macho Man? I remember something like that. I remember something like that. And that's the odd couple for me right there. You know, somebody like George. That's Otis. You know,
that's true. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah. So I think definitely reminded me some old times watching that match right there. Had a throwback feel to it, and that's what wrestling is. You know, what's old is new again, and I think being able to rely on some of that in this pay-per-view was we needed it actually. Yeah. Seriously.
Oh, I think we needed that feel good moment, like you said, and I don't know where Tucker was at, but I liked that Sonya Deville and Dolph were kind of paired off together, and then when Mandy came down in some incredible ring attire, she beat up on Sonya Deville. Then she got in the ring, boom, low blow to Ziggler. Otis wins, and they're kissing and making out at the end. Otis carries her over the threshold almost the whole way through. So I'm excited to see where this goes and if they expand on the story and how they move it forward. And that was the thing. Can you imagine though that moment in front of 70,000 people? That was one of the matches and moments that we missed having a crowd for. The crowd would have lost it. At WrestleMania in Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay had that moment happen.
Yeah, it would have been crazy. It would have been crazy just because there again, you know, Mandy making that run. I can only imagine how far it would have been at WrestleMania.
It's been a good little jog.
Yeah. So you get a lot of chance to see a whole lot. You know, whoa, man, she's been working out. Yeah, so, she's always posting those photos on Instagram anyway, man. You know, making sure she's working out and keeping the body intact. But I tell you, man, this WrestleMania was one to remember. Hey, let's talk about, guys like I was just looking at Scott Dawson, the Revival. Guys like that missing out on WrestleMania, even though, you know, it was, shot the way it was. You know, man, I can only imagine, you know, those guys, the way they feel right now, being on the outside, looking in, man. No one could have expected what's going on right now, but I wish those guys the best of luck. No matter what, I was reading that they're not going to be re-signing with WWE. They're going to be moving on to greener pastures. And the thing is, I really like those guys. I really do. As far as performers, they're really, really good performers. As far as guys, I really like them as people. And now, you know, hopefully they find themselves, a soft landing, you know, no matter what happened after, you know, they leave the company. But I just do wish, man, those guys could have made a deal and stuck around and stayed with the company, man, because Minnesota Wrecking Crew, they are, man, two old school guys that just go out there and perform at a very, very high level. That's who they are, man. So wish those guys best of luck, you know, no matter what happened in their careers.
Absolutely. And speaking of tag team, what did you think of we got to see Montez and the Street Profits go up against Angel Garza and Austin Theory. Yeah. Of course, it was kind of thrown together. Andrade had to sit out, you know, due to a rib injury. Zelina brings in Austin Theory, who's 22 years of age, you know, make pretty much his debut to the world on WrestleMania for the tag team championships. Not a terrible spot to be in, but what did you think overall?
Nah, man, Street Profit, when Tez, Dawkins, they go out and they work hard. Dawkins, you know, give this man a gold piece. You know, he send him home. He has a story to tell. He's a guy that's been down there in that system, just working. Been down there in that system, you know, just wondering when am I going to get a shot, and then to be paired with Tez, and then to form, you know, Street Profit, and then to go out there again and get over, even be it in NXT, and then move into the big leagues and the people still following them.
Yeah,
there's a whole lot about these guys. It says a whole lot about them, and the thing is, they go out there and they entertain at the highest level. Now, saying all that, they got to step up their wardrobe game. You know, the wrestling attire game. I didn't like the red and white, you know, get up that they were wearing. You know, it definitely does not accent, you know, what I feel Street Profit should, look like, should represent. Street Profit needs to be a little bit more hard, a little bit more OG than that. You know, that remind me of MC Hamish. You know what I mean? The baggies. tight and I need you to be right. I don't know. Maybe, maybe they do it for different reasons. I don't know. But I do think the outfits did not fit me personally.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I guess when you hear the name Street Profit, and then you see Street Profit, it doesn't fully equate sometimes. I don't know. It doesn't look MC Hammer to me. It almost has a collegiate feel. I don't know. They feel like they're like collegiate, basketball play. I don't know exactly what it is.
Well, it look like basketball, a cross between wrestlers and basketball.
Who are the guys the Harlem Globetrotters always beat up on? What's the name of the team? Is it like the Senators or something like? You know what I'm talking about? What's the name of the team? That's what That's what they remind me of. That's who they remind me of. The get up that looks like that. Yeah, I'm not trying to hate. I'm just saying that's what it reminds me of.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. That's what's so messed up. I agree with you 100% on that right there, man. But let's switch gears for a second. AEW, shutting the doors, man. They done their last taping, and they say they're gonna close the doors indefinitely. Man, how do you think closing the doors for AEW is going to impact that brand new company?
I mean, it's definitely not what you want. I mean, I kind of equate it to the XFL, right? The XFL was finally hitting its stride. It felt like in this return season, then boom, you got to cut it off at the legs. We're not going to be back to 2021. All that momentum goes out the window. I know AEW has they filmed a lot of episodes, I know. And I don't know how many weeks that they have in the can, but obviously it's going to be similar to what we've seen on WWE with no audience. So it's a rough place for them to be in. I mean, I think that they're pretty hopeful and happy that they signed that extension with TNT that's guaranteed they're going to stay around for a little while. But this isn't really what you want to do, especially if you're in your going into your second year, but really your first year, still your first 12 months on television, and then you get taken off for a while. It's not a great position to be in. I think that they'll be able to rebound, hopefully so. But again, it's not what you want to do as a young company, finally getting some momentum under you.
Yeah, I was watching the Matt Hardy. Did you see Matt Hardy's segment last week?
Where he was teleporting?
Yeah, where he was like teleporting.
Yeah.
Showed up at the bottom there. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. And then I was thinking, man, wonder what WWE is going to do. And then they come up with the Boneyard match in the Firefly Funhouse. And I go, man, don't poke the bear. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Because like I say, WWE is a machine, man. They definitely can, pull out all the stops as far as being able to go Hollywood in so many different ways, and especially in this time that we're in right now.
What did you think, though? What did you? Oh, go ahead. Finish your point.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, what did you think of? You mentioned it. What did you think of this match? What did you think of John Cena versus the Fiend Bray Wyatt in the first ever Firefly Funhouse match?
Well, I got to go back and watch it a couple more times. All right, because it's so much happening, and I got to figure out, what track are we trying to be on as far as the story. Where we're going with this thing. What was the vision? Was Bray Wyatt the Fiend, in John Cena's head, or was John Cena just in the Fiend's world? I'm just trying to figure out, the whole thing. I'm confused a little bit because so much was that. What does the NWO and John Cena have to do with each other? The John Cena ruthless aggression portion, ruthless aggression. Right. So I'm just trying to figure out now. Obviously, a lot of people understood it, but I only watch certain movies, certain things. I just don't understand just because I don't watch certain things. So there again, I got to go back and rewatch it a couple more times. I liked it, but I was thinking Boneyard match. I think that's what kind of threw me off. Thinking about the Boneyard match, I was wondering when was the Firefly match going to start, and then when I thought it was starting, that's when it was ending. So I got to go back and watch it a couple more times.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was like you. I was going in there expecting Boneyard match. Like, okay, this is just going to be like a Firefly Funhouse match, but like the Boneyard match.
A fight, a real fight.
I thought it was going to be a fight.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a fight, and it wasn't. And I was a little bit. It didn't hit me the same that it hit. A lot of people liked it. I will say this. I put even a poll up on Twitter like, hey, did you like the Boneyard match more, or the Firefly Funhouse? And it was like 51-49. So people were split on which one they liked more. It wasn't for me. I'll say that. I watched it back again this morning, trying to pick up on more of it. I was trying to figure out the NWO thing too. I didn't know if that was like them saying, oh, this is what John Cena could have been like if you were a heel. I don't know. I didn't get it fully. And I wish there was more of a physical confrontation, because to me it was more of it felt like a segment.
Yeah.
It felt like a skit
more
than it did a match.
Yeah.
And the Boneyard match felt like a fight. Felt like a cinematic fight. And I was just missing that.
Somewhat like you would see on Saturday Night Live.
Well, the Saturday night's main event portion where he's doing the thing and then he can't hit him with his arm.
Yeah.
It felt like a Saturday Night Live skit. Yeah,
exactly.
It felt like a Saturday Night.
Yeah.
I liked the play on the. I liked that they were like trying to make these comparisons to their careers, and you saw the metamorphosis of John Cena as ruthless aggression, and then slapping him. The rapper John Cena. You saw the old SmackDown fist in the thing, and I liked some of the references. I just wish there was more of a physical confrontation between the two of them, because what I couldn't figure out is if y'all are in a feud and y'all are supposed to be fighting each other and there's a match, I don't get why you're doing a skit with each other. Yeah. I just, a lot of it didn't process to me. And I know a lot of people liked it. It just, for me, the Boneyard match set the standard so high that I went in with inflated expectations.
Yeah. I think everybody, like I say, that first night in the main event, being the Undertaker. Yeah, I mean, come on, you got to top that. That's the first thing you wouldn't be. Okay, man, I got to go out here and top this. And then you hear the praise that the Boneyard match is getting you. I mean, it happened quick. I mean, it's instant these days as far as the way people think. You know what I mean, and what they post as far as the way they felt. And that match, people. They did not crap on it at all. They go, wow, this is pretty cool. This is something different. Man, the Boneyard match was the best thing of the night. So that second night definitely had something to follow, just because they were following the Undertaker, who is a main eventer normally at WrestleMania. Normally when you see that guy, he's somewhere near the end. This time he was near the end, but just on the first show. But we still had another one to go. Guys had a whole lot to work. And that they did. Charlotte Flair, the Rip, they went out there. They worked their butts off. Orton, and Edge, they went out there and they worked timeless. No pun intended.
It was the Edge and Randy Orton match. If you don't include the Iron Man match from WrestleMania 12 with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, was the longest match in WrestleMania history, if you can believe that.
How long was that match? How long was it?
It went 37 minutes.
Doesn't seem like that would be the longest match in WrestleMania history.
Yeah.
I mean, because, man, some of these matches, man, are you sure?
Yeah, I read the stat earlier, unless my sourcing and information was incorrect. But, I can't think of a match that went longer than that. I can think of some that went 30, 32 maybe. But 37, almost 40 minutes is a long time.
It's got to be a match longer than that, It's got to be.
I don't know. In the chat, if anyone knows of a longer match aside from the Iron Man match, somebody let us know. I could be wrong.
I
could be wrong.
I mean, I've been in matches, close to 30.
So Harry Coburn wants to know: should the Last Man Standing match should it have been a cinematic style, other than because this was more of the one camera follows you throughout, brawl into the back. Do you think it should have been more cinematic?
The Last Man Standing match?
Yeah.
I think so. I think they could have got a whole lot more out of that match just due to some of the stuff that they had to work with. And making it cinematic would have been, really, really interesting. Just say, they're on top of the truck there working. And I thought something was going to happen right there. I thought we was going to get something off the truck. And so therefore, if that would have been done cinematically, man, they could have done something really, really cool, something really, really interesting. Perhaps for the finish.
Yeah,
So, and I go back to Braun Strowman when he was doing all of his stuff, and they did some stuff with him, where he was, had to pick up certain things, and we was talking about it actually a couple of times back when Braun Strowman was doing some of the stuff, and we say, well, that position was a little different than it was last shot, so we knew they was working with us a little bit,
right?
And with something like this, they could have did the exact same thing and a whole lot more, just because this is just TV right now. Everybody know what's going on. Everybody want to be entertained. So to be able to take that last man standing match from a different perspective, other than walking from one shot to the next shot to the next shot to the finish, it could have been done a little bit different. But or it could have been a little bit shorter. I think if it were a little bit shorter, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Everybody be saying, man, it was a really, really good match. But I think the length of it, the guys had to, go through so much to get to that place. And it was all built around, one thing. And that was, ending Randy Orton the same way he ended Edge. I think we could have got there maybe a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I think it could have been a little quicker. And it's hard to critique, you know what I mean? And these guys are working without the crowd. And in a last man standing match, you want a lot of crowd involvement too, with the referee counting to 10 and what have you. But I think that it could have been a little bit shorter. That would have been fine. And I just wish, I'm glad that Edge got that moment at the Royal Rumble where he came back and he got to hear the roar of that 30,000, 40,000 people, however many people were there at the Minute Maid Park here in Houston. Yeah. Because I wish that he could have had that Mania moment in front of the 70,000. He got the Rumble one. I'm excited to see Edge going forward because to me, he didn't look like he was working with any limitations. I mean, at first there was a lot of punch kick stuff, but then he's jumping off the top of the thing through the table. They're climbing all over the place. He's dropping elbows.
The DDT onto the bed of the truck.
Yeah,
that was a test right there. Let's see how strong the neck is. So that right there, the one that got me, and I go, oh, okay, he's willing to put himself out there, throw caution to the wind a little bit, and then it seemed like the more and more they went on, the more and more he got comfortable.
I watched that Edge documentary that they did on WWE Network. I didn't realize the moment he realized he might be able to come back to wrestling, he was mountain biking with Sheamus. Sheamus had some YouTube show where he was doing workouts with people, and they were mountain biking.
Celtic workout.
Celtic workout, that's the name of it.
Yeah.
And Edge and them are doing that mountain biking. Edge takes a bump off the bike. He hits something, boom, he takes this big bump on the bike onto the pavement, scratches himself all up, but he got right back up and he's like, hey, my neck doesn't hurt. He goes, people are going to see this and wonder why he can't wrestle. And that's when the idea started in his head. Like, oh, okay, boom, maybe I can actually do this again. And it's because of the Celtic Warrior workout, we have Edge back in the WWE.
That's the way I felt when I fell off the hoverboard. Like twice. If I take those bumps, I think I can work again. put me back in the game, coach. But yeah. But I was glad to see Edge back in the game as well. And the thing is, I really feel like Edge is going to finish this thing the way he wants to finish it. I wonder how much longer Edge is going to. How much time is he going to put in the ring? I mean, is it going to be another year? Another 2 years? Was that it? Was this just a bucket list type of thing? To just know I could get back in there and do it all over again, and complete this year and then hang it up and walk away. It wasn't one of those things. Do Edge got the bug to actually, to pull another run? That's what all wrestlers say. I still got one last run.
I think we see Edge more. I think he's coming back and wrestling as much as he can. And here's the thing. I think that 9 years off, he had a second neck surgery during that time. But all the rest and relaxation, I know you always say time off is a wrestler's worst enemy, but I think for him to heal for those 9 years, and then to come back and have a nearly 40-minute match at WrestleMania where he's jumping off everything and he's getting the hell beat out of him, and those two guys were going at it, I think that we're going to see him back, I'd say on a pretty consistent basis. I'm not saying every TV or anything, but I think SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, I think we see Edge.
I'm not gonna say we're not gonna see Edge out there in the ring working. He's fine. He's found his way back to the business, man, and that's something that a lot of guys, when they go out the way Edge did, they tend to want to find their way back. You look at Shawn Michaels, same thing. Back, told, man, you got to, we're gonna put you on the shelf, and then he get put on the shelf, and then come back, and that's
5 years.
Well, that second Shawn Michaels, he may not have been as young. He may not have been as athletically inclined, but he went out there and made it look like he was. And I was like, man, Shawn Michaels, man, he still got it. And that's what, longevity, that's what being around this game can teach you. And then coming back, knowing you got to change your game up a little bit and do things a little bit differently. I was reading what Ed said, guys, y'all going to see a totally different Edge. Things that I did back in the day, you're not going to see those things. And then but when you watch Edge, you don't miss seeing any of those things because he is a professional and he's going to go out there and smoke and mirror his way through that thing. So give credit, big props to Edge coming back and finishing this thing on his terms and walking away from this business the way he wants to walk away from it. First and foremost.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out to Edge. I'm glad that he's back. I hope we see him more. I hope we get back to a sense of normalcy where he can go out there and work in front of a crowd because I think that he can be a great storyteller, especially at this point in his career. He's in his mid-40s, and that's when you always say that it finally clicked for you. It was in your 40s. You got it all. Was it always this easy? So let's see if Edge and Randy, who's newly 40 as well, so I hope we see more from both of those guys down the road. There was 2 title matches booked. I guess we talk about this one here first. It was on the first night. We saw Braun Strowman go out there and beat Goldberg in probably 3 or 4 minutes. Definitely not the longest WrestleMania match in history, as we talked about with Edge. But they went out there and Braun's the new Universal Champion. What do you think of that?
Well, what was one expecting from that match right there? I mean, Braun Strowman is not a mat technician or anything like that.
Right.
Goldberg, his longest match has been, 4 minutes in his career.
Yeah.
Give or take. Second here, second there. This match being put together at the last minute as well for his Braun Strowman having to step in there. I'm sure with this coronavirus thing going down, these guys didn't have any time to prepare for this thing as far as, hey, guys, can you come down to Florida and, let's work through this thing a little bit. I don't think that happened or anything like that. Well,
actually, it was the opposite. Braun was told initially he wasn't going to be on the show. And he, I saw an interview that he did. He actually drove back home, I think, to West Virginia. And he was an hour outside of West Virginia, almost home, got a lockdown quarantine. And he got a call. Hey, there's going to be a jet waiting for you at 9 o'clock. We need you back. It's an emergency. And he had to get right back on the plane and fly right back and film the match. I think maybe that same day or the next morning. God. So he didn't have any time to prepare. And I don't think anyone was expecting a technical mat classic by any means between these two guys. I think Goldberg, his last match at WrestleMania was against Brock, WrestleMania 33. They went out there. It was like 5.5 minutes. But they tore the house down. I mean, they were brawling and they did everything that they could.
I thought this thing was going to be quick. I thought it was going to be fast, just like it was. Goldberg, just like he normally does. Boom. He started out with the spear. Boom. Big spears. Bing, bing, bing. Okay. What do you expect? The guy ran out of gas. All right. That's the way I look at it. No, that's the way I look at it. All right. If I'm going to try to make some sense out of the thing, okay, I'm going to look at it from a realistic perspective. I go, Goldberg just turned what, 50?
Yeah, 50, 51, somewhere
50,
in there.
51, 52 years old, something like that. The guy, that was his last gas right there as far as going out there and pulling this thing out. Let me try to hit this boy with the spear. Hopefully that'll keep him down. Boom, but it did. Let me hit him with another. And if you notice that third spear, Goldberg was sucking it up to hit that one. He was literally talking to himself like, please, can I please just get this one last spear in? And boom, he landed it. But after that, Goldberg was out of gas. Braun Strowman, the younger guy. Did I try to make sense of the thing? Braun Strowman's the younger guy. He powered through those spears and went out there, hit this man with a big power slam. Bing, bing, got out of 1, 2, 3. Hey, it wasn't the greatest match in the history of WrestleManias. No, it wasn't. But to get where I need to go with Roman Reigns being out, not able to perform. We know Goldberg is not going to be around forever. We know Goldberg can't do a run as far as a tour, as far as putting him on the road for a calendar year or something like that. That's not finna happen. All right. Do we want Goldberg to be a part-timer like Goldberg? No. I'm sorry, like Brock Lesnar? No, because one thing about Goldberg and the difference between him and Brock Lesnar is that 50-something to 40. All right. And that right there, Brock Lesnar can still go out there and go at a very high level. Brock Lesnar is a former UFC heavyweight champion. Brock Lesnar is a multi-time WWE champion. Brock Lesnar is a guy, on a moment's notice, he could be booked against the heavyweight champion in the UFC again and then actually happen to win. So this is a guy that I could use for several different reasons. Goldberg, one reason, he's a major attraction. He's going to come back and he's going to give you a buzz. It's almost like having nitrous oxide in your car. All right. You can hit the button, but you can only use it one time. Once you use it that one time, it's done. I'm serious. And that's the way I look at Goldberg. He's like a nitrous oxide that you use every now and then, unlike Goldberg, unlike Brock Lesnar.
I hear that, and I'm with that. I mean, them putting the title on Braun, I think that's great for Braun. It's a good moment for him. And, he's been a guy who's been working for a long time and had a lot of shots to get that title and has kind of come up short. I still think, for me, and I think we talked about this yesterday, but I would have left the title on Goldberg. I expected them to be taking a break. So now that they're not taking a break, that kind of changes my mind here a little bit. I would have left the title on Goldberg until maybe SummerSlam or whenever we can have a big event to have that Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, spear versus spear, because when he beat Bray for the title and we knew we were going to get Roman and Goldberg, I really got myself hyped up for that match. I was like, man, spear versus spear, WrestleMania. These guys are going to go out there. Roman can work with a broomstick and have a great match, but he's going to go out there with a guy like Goldberg. I will say Goldberg's allure, I think, misses something when he's not in front of the crowd, because Goldberg's a part, that crowd reaction is a part of the Goldberg mystique, the snarl, the spit, kick the door down, come out, the flames, the fireworks.
He didn't headbutt the door.
Didn't headbutt the door this time. He thought about it, but I don't think that he went for it. And then, the fans chanting Goldberg, Goldberg. I think that they could have had a bit more of a brawl, but I'm nitpicking, right? I think that may have gone to the outside, give a spear through the barricade, do maybe a little bit more something. But they went in there. It was 3, 4, 5 minutes, however long it was. Braun's the new champion, and what I do like about it is we can now set up for a Braun-Bray Wyatt feud, down the road on SmackDown.
Well,
get Roman.
Well, my thing is Roman has to come back and be in a position to shine. I don't think coming back against Braun Strowman is going to
real quick. We have a special guest joining us real quick right here live on the Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, he was the host of the Kickoff Show. Mr. Peter Rosenberg is here with us.
This is
wait a minute. We don't know who the hell that is.
That's exactly right.
That could be anybody.
This could be anybody, but it is me. I had to get outside right now, and actually, if you guys listen, you could hear in the background everyone in New York at 7:00 start screaming and cheering for all our medical workers. That's the noise you can hear in the background right now.
Yeah.
But
how serious is it in the city right now, man?
It's pretty intense. I mean, right now there are a few people out. Like I had to come outside right now to run my dog out outside. So I try to come out real quick for about, a few minutes and then go right back in. And I really mostly wear this just because I live in an apartment building with a ton of other people, and they're older people in the building. So I just feel like out of respect, I try to always be covered because I don't want. They're probably scared of me. Maybe the glasses are a bit much. Okay, maybe the glasses.
Bro, I swear, you look like you about to rob somebody's ass. I ain't lying.
But it's definitely intense. But people for the most part are being good and smart. There's some moments when I think people don't fully understand the extent of it, but for the most part, people are following along. And listen, that's why WrestleMania was so great this weekend, because I finally got to have some fun and some camaraderie with people. I jumped on a little Zoom party both nights and and got to take in the show.
Hey man, what's the experience like, man, actually doing the kickoff show and from that perspective?
You know, it was interesting. It was a very closed set and very low key and small, bare bones, but we got it done. And listen, it was a little nerve-wracking because I haven't been around anyone. I mean, since this started, I haven't been around anyone. So being near anyone was a little nerve-wracking, but I weighed the options and thought it was worthwhile because I knew everybody involved. I felt comfortable with the WWE staff. And like I said, they kept a real nice small set. Everyone felt comfortable. Everyone was constantly Purelling. You know, I was wearing a mask a lot of the time, to be honest, when I wasn't shooting. And we just did, you know, we were just as smart as humanly possible. Kept it quick, knocked it out. We did it straight up in an hour, got it done and got out of there. But it was nice to be around people. You know, I won't lie. You know, it was nice to be around Graves and our producer, Mike Mansuri, get to work with those guys and kind of feel a little bit of a sense of normalcy and even feel a little bit of a sense of some excitement around WrestleMania. That felt good to have that experience.
Hey man, I want to thank you, man, for stepping in and pulling the load. I think I couldn't come out, but I definitely was wishing I was part of it somehow. I sent in a clip. Hopefully they send me. So I don't care if it's a small check, but just send me something for my contributions.
Well, and you know what I appreciate about what you did, Book, is you dressed up.
Oh yeah,
Book dressed up. You took it serious. You went tuxedo. Everyone else, because they were at home, they were dressed like it was just a regular day of the week. Not Booker. Dressed like a king.
Hey man, it's all about putting the work in. You know what I mean? Showing up to work. I got a saying, man. I'm always available, even if I'm not available. And that's what showing up really, really means. And this year's WrestleMania, showing up. A lot of people thought this year's WrestleMania was going to be canceled. A lot of people thought WrestleMania should be canceled. But I'm of the take that, if we could actually get this show done and if everybody is safe and we get the show and we can do it, let's do it. And I'm glad still consecutive, we've not missed one WrestleMania in all of these years. And I just want to say I appreciate the WWE for getting it done and getting it done safely where everybody still can, enjoy this life that we're in right now. You guys done that, and then you got a chance to watch it from home. So WWE did everything they possibly could to keep you guys safe. So I just want to say I appreciate that. We lost my man for some reason. We hopefully we can get him back in or something. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's P.D. Rosenberg's having a little technical difficulty. Hopefully he'll call back, drop him back in, get him back on the line. But I tell you, man, a lot of people, like I say, thought the show shouldn't go on. But I'm of the consensus, man. We know what this business is all about. We knew it wouldn't be safe going out there in front of a crowd. Everybody understand that. But if we could get this thing done safely, entertain the fans, WrestleMania season still going off, and the thing is, I'm sure. There we go. And the thing is, I'm sure WWE lost a boatload of money. Still, and that's the thing that people don't understand. I don't think WWE did this totally for monetarily reasons, because I think they could have shut it down and saved a whole lot of money. But I just think a lot of people on the internet, a lot of people on social media, always looking for the negative in something like that. But I feel like at the end of the day, it was a positive. I don't know if we got Peter there, but Brad, what do you think about that?
No, I think it was a big positive. I think that everybody was looking for something. You know what I mean? We were looking for something to do. We were looking for something to watch. I think that we may have lost Peter here. He's having connection issues.
But everybody's always looking for negativity, though, more than anything. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody's always looking for something to bitch about. Everybody's always looking for something to hate on. You know what I mean? I can't tell you how many people follow me just to hate on me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, of course, it could have gotten shut down, but it didn't. It went on, fans got entertained, and we move on to next year. We haven't heard about anybody in WWE coming down with anything, so obviously it was safe. But people always looking for something to hate on, and in this instance, let's not look for the hate. Let's just say, hey, it is what it was, and hopefully next year we'll be past this coronavirus, and the 100,000 can show up at WrestleMania, continue like it's always have.
Yeah, and actually, WWE put out something earlier today. The WrestleMania 36 was the most social event in WWE history. According to the Nielsen social ratings, WrestleMania saw 13.8 million total social media interactions on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That's 57% higher than last year's WrestleMania.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy. So it shows you that people were out there looking for something they wanted to be involved. They wanted to watch the show. They wanted to be entertained. And I think it was a brilliant call retrospectively to do it over 2 nights, because you had people talking about it for an entire weekend of WrestleMania rather than just one night.
I had AJ Hoffman, from the Blitz, 97.5 ESPN. And he was talking to me. He was like, man, I went into a lane that I normally don't go in, which is professional wrestling. My kids were like, Dad, we got to watch WrestleMania. We got to watch WrestleMania. So he ordered the pay-per-view. And for a guy like AJ to order a WWE pay-per-view, he said he got the network. You know what I mean? He went on and broke down and got the network. So that's just telling me, people, like you say, people are looking for things to do. People are looking for something to be a part of. And WrestleMania was that escape, even if it was just for a couple of hours. Out of your weekend, it was that escape. And some of those matches, like I say, no matter whether there was a crowd in that arena or not, if it would have been a crowd, they would have been going crazy. And if they were sitting at home watching it, they were going, man, I wish I was there. That's the way they felt in a lot of those matches. So I want to get everybody on that WWE roster, all the ladies, all the guys, like Rosie said there, Petey Rosenberg said there a second ago, all the production guys and crew that was, pulled that thing together and was able to put that show on. I want to thank all those guys for actually getting out there and doing that, because it definitely was one that we're going to remember for a long time.
Absolutely. And it was perfectly timed. Everyone needed something to watch, and WrestleMania gave it to us. I'm glad that it wasn't postponed, and we kept the tradition going strong. Also, traditional WrestleMania, Royal Rumble winner goes on to main event the show, face the WWE champion, Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre. Felt real similar to me as Braun and Goldberg, had a real similar vibe.
Let me simplify that for you, though.
Let me hear it. Lay it on me.
Very, very simple. I talked to AJ about this earlier as well. AJ, he's a former MMA combatant, a guy who's been in a fight before. And AJ was like, man, what was up on the Brock Lesnar match, man? I'm used to seeing, Brock Lesnar come out and do, combat. And I go, well, let's just simplify this. AJ, I said, you mixed martial artists. You know about fighting. I say, a guy slam you, you might get, kick out, recover a little bit. I say, but when a guy kick you in the head 3 times, normally what happens? He'd say, you normally, he's pass out, unconscious, whatever. And that's what happened. Drew McIntyre kicked Brock Lesnar in the head 3 times. If you kick out of something like that, getting kicked in the head 3 times, if you kick out, all the realism of Brock Lesnar pretty much goes away. For me, Brock Lesnar staying down after getting kicked in the brain for 3 times, it works. Was it the greatest match in the world? No, it wasn't. Were we going to get literally wrestling 101 between these two guys? No, we wasn't going to get that it under these circumstances. Now, I do feel like if Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre would have been in front of 60,000 people, that match would have been totally different than it was in front of 0 people. So it's easy to talk about certain things like that if you're not in the situation being the guy that's booking it, if it's not your deal. And that's the way I look at it. I look at it if I was booking this show and where I was going with it, what do I need to do right now? And that's pretty much, make sure these guys get in this thing and get out properly, and we move on. Because I just don't think it would have did any justice for either one of those guys to go out there and have a 15-minute match.
Yeah, no, I I don't disagree with you at all. I think that they went out there and they did what they had to do with no one around. I agree. Brock, to me, since he's come back, if you can believe it or not, Brock's been back for 8 years. For 8 years. And Brock, since he's come back, I think has been one of the most valuable pieces on the roster. And when he comes out to do WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Survivor, any of the big shows, he's going to give you a show. Always, he's going to give you a show. And I think that given the circumstances, you're right. There's no sense of them going out there and doing a 15 to 20-minute, main event style match. They went out there to accomplish the goal, have a physical altercation that led to Drew McIntyre being the new WWE champion. That's what they did. It's not going to go down in history as the greatest main event in WrestleMania ever. But hey, they accomplished the goal that they had. And I thought that maybe with there being no audience, they'd hold off on Drew getting that crowning moment. Yeah. But they went forward with it, and he's the guy now. Now we have two brand new first-time Universal and WWE champions in Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman. That's what WrestleMania is, to make new guys and to have the showcase of the Immortals. So I give him a shout out. It was not my favorite match on the show, but that's irregardless of the end result was the right one to go with.
Definitely. It was one of those matches, like I said, again, you're not going to say, hey, man, let's pull up this match and watch it, 20 years from now.
Right.
You might be strolling through it on Twitter, on YouTube or something and, watch it because you see, oh, man, this match is only 3 minutes. Let me check it out. It's one of those type of deals. But there again, I think it was what it was. Those guys went out there and gave the, the crowd what I think a lot of them wanted, and that was the title change from Brock Lesnar to Drew McIntyre. Now, any other day, okay? Any other day that Brock Lesnar dropped the strap to Drew McIntyre in less than 5 minutes, everyone would be so happy. But not this time. It's a little bit different. And I understand why. But normally, after so many people talk about, Brock Lesnar being a part-timer, why does Brock Lesnar have a belt on him? All of these same people that was, bitching and moaning and complaining about that match are those same guys that was wishing Brock Lesnar would lose the title. And why does Brock Lesnar have the title? And why does a part-timer actually come in? And, so I say be happy with the outcome, which was what a lot of you people wanted, which was the title off Brock Lesnar and on Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, no, I agree. You got to be happy with the end result, and is what we got. Now, what's interesting, though, is I don't know if you saw Drew today, or was it or last night, one of the two. He actually made a challenge to somebody. Did you see this? Yeah,
I saw that, which is interesting.
He made a challenge to the unified or somewhat unified, or the heavyweight champion of the world, guy that we saw in lineal heavyweight champion, guy that we saw go out there and take care of business in Vegas last month or the month before in February. It's Tyson Fury. And Tyson responded. This is what Tyson Fury said. Tyson Fury said, he called me out after his WrestleMania 36 victory. First, I got to say congratulations. What a fantastic job. Secondly, I accept his challenge anytime, any place, anywhere. Do you want to see Tyson Fury versus Drew McIntyre?
And it don't matter what I want to see.
Do you think we're going to see it?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Drew McIntyre, he's smart, to call out Tyson Fury, knowing we're going to be going to Saudi, sometime, after this thing clear up, to be able to go over there and have a match with Tyson Fury, it could be definitely a good move as far as his bank account goes. And if you're smart in this business, you're going to be thinking about, certain things. You're not going to be thinking about the small picture. You're going to be thinking about the big picture. And for Drew McIntyre to find his way back to this point and know what this thing is all about is very, very important. Every step that Drew takes from this point on is going to determine how this thing unfolds at the end of the day. And that's when he walks away from the ring and leave this part of his career behind. Everything he do from this point on is definitely going to be very, very important. I talked to him about being champion in the ring as well as being champion out of the ring. All of that stuff is very, very true. And Drew McIntyre is in that position now, man. It's a hard road to hoe, but it's the best place to be if you're a WWE superstar.
Do you think I was asked this earlier? Do you think that Drew McIntyre has crossover star appeal? Do you think that he could be a mega star outside of wrestling? Because he's got he passes the quote unquote airport test, right? Where if you see this guy in the airport, hey, there's somebody special here. Do you think that he can get to that crossover appeal?
Well, I can tell you this, it's not going to happen organically or anything like that. You got to work to make that kind of stuff happen. That's why I respect The Miz for, say what you want to say about The Miz, but he is that crossover guy. He's that guy that can go work in Hollywood. He's that guy that can go do a game show. He's that guy that can do commercials. He's the guy that can get in the ring and wrestle in the main event at WrestleMania. So you gotta work to get to that point. The Rock didn't, become, box office, headline, guy by accident. He didn't slip on a banana peel and become, one of the top draws, if not the top draw in Hollywood. There was a lot of work put into that. And then I say that because Drew McIntyre, he has that same work ethic, being a guy that showed up at 21 years old, got fired from the company, and then make his way back to now become, the champion. So it tells me a whole lot about Drew McIntyre, and if he can make that transition as far as being in that crossover, mega superstar, be it, professional wrestling or Hollywood. I think, like you say, in that box, he got everything in that box to when people look at him, like you say, when he walk through the airport, when he walk in a room, when he walk into a restaurant, heads turn and go, who's that guy? So
that's a big dude.
yeah. So definitely he's gonna have to put in the work, but I really feel like Drew McIntyre is one of the guys that can get it done.
So we'll see if that Tyson Fury match happens. A couple more things before we wrap up. We got the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania going down here in about 40 minutes live on USA Network. What do you want to see from this Raw? Typically, Raw after WrestleMania is the most exciting night of the year. It's going to be different, just like WrestleMania was this year. It's going to be no fans. Do you expect anything major to happen, or you think it's going to feel like a normal Raw?
Man, I don't know, man. I'm highly anticipating it just like everybody else, being around the shows and being at the arena and, being an insider and know what's going on before it actually happens. I'm kind of like in the same boat everybody else here right now, man. I'm waiting on the news to come out so I can see it and, report on it. So I'm looking forward to this Monday night after WrestleMania to be, let's say, noteworthy. Hopefully it'll be give me some direction as far as where's the company going to go from here. I know at WrestleMania they were already promoting the next pay-per-view, so I'm hoping that it kind of like tell us what direction that we're going to be going in. How are we going to get there? Is this night tonight going to be the beginning of trying to get to that? How are we going to do it? Everything's up in the air right now, man, because I don't know exactly, how they're going to get it done. I don't know how long this pandemic is going to be, among us to where, they got to continue to do shows like this. There again, how long are we going to want to watch empty arena matches? It's not like UFC, where if just say, for instance, if UFC did do a empty arena show, they're only doing it once a month, not 4 times a week. You know what I mean? So, not 4 times a month. 4 times a week almost. You got
Raw, SmackDown.
You got NXT. So you got that 3 times a week right there. So it's a little bit different as far as the way we're doing it compared to the UFC, as well as there are full-on combat and everybody know exactly what it is. So I can watch UFC differently in an empty arena opposed to watching professional wrestling in an empty arena. It's a little bit different. But there again, I say WWE got the machine to actually be able to create right now in this time like no one else. We could be seeing a movie every week from a wrestling perspective. So I say they're in a position where they can still forge ahead and still be able to create great content. And then, you know, just to add the icing on the cake, they could actually get a whole lot of new fans if done right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it like everybody else is. I'm just interested in seeing what the Raw after WrestleMania, in historic WrestleMania, which, by the way, a lot of people said, oh, this is going to be the worst WrestleMania ever. I definitely don't think it's on the worst WrestleMania list. For me, it's not the worst WrestleMania ever. I think there was a lot to love about the show. Boneyard match, obviously, was a standout. So we'll see what happens here on Raw here in a little, about 35 minutes. Yeah. One last thing, Book. It's not wrestling related, but it was made official right before we went live. Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje is going to be going down April the 18th, live on ESPN Plus and your local pay-per-view provider. Dana White said they found a location in the West Coast where they're going to be having this fight. And apparently it's on I think it's going to be on a Native American reservation, I believe. And they're going to plan to have all their fight cards here going forward. It's official now. What's your first reaction?
Well, I know the coronavirus has hit the native reservations as well. I was just looking at it on television today. And I'm serious. It might have been in Southern California. But for this show to still be going down with the main event being all, mixed up and all thrown off with Khabib, having to stay in Russia, not being able to get out of the country, totally understandable. The fifth time this fight has been canceled, postponed, however you want to look at it. Justin Gaethje stepping in on a moment's notice to take on Tony Ferguson. I like it. I'm gonna watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch it. That's gonna be a good fight. Is that a main event? Yes, it is a main event.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anywhere in the world. Is it the fight that we wanted to see? Of course not. But is it the fight that could turn out to be a one for the ages? Oh my God, this fight right here could turn out to be dynamite. So for me, Gaethje, Ferguson, I like it. Only thing I don't like about it, it might throw a whole monkey wrench into everything, and Justin Gaethje may end up taking that fight with Khabib Nurmagomedov whenever they can actually do it, because I do feel like Justin Gaethje has all the tools to go out there and beat Tony Ferguson. He's an excellent wrestler, even though he doesn't show it a whole lot. He's just never had to be in that position because he's one of those guys that just love to go out there and bang and stand up. Tony Ferguson, we know he's a guy that, on the ground he has no problem. On his back he has no problem. And stand up as well. Tony Ferguson, if he can get you to that point to where you gas, to where you don't feel like you did in the first round, and now we're in the third round, he definitely can overwhelm you just with his volume of output. But I don't think in a fight with a guy like Justin Gaethje that's going to happen, just because Tony Ferguson, he's one of those fighters who's all out. He's not a guy who has any holdback at all, and he throws caution to the wind just about on so many occasions. He's a guy that can go out there and just walk into one of those shots by Justin Gaethje, and the fight could be over. And you don't really know how well you can take a shot until you get hit by a guy, and you can't take his shot. So we're gonna find out.
Yeah, I think it puts that Khabib match in jeopardy if we're ever going to see it for the interim lightweight championship. We'll see if Tony Ferguson can go out there and pull it off. I think that's a rough fight for Gaethje to take last minute, but it's an equally rough fight to prepare for last minute if you're Tony Ferguson. So we'll see what happens, Book. I think that wraps it up, unless you had anything else that you wanted to cover before we get out of here.
Up out of here, man, because I got some food. I got some steak in the oven right now, and I got to go tend to it, make sure it's been basting for the last hour and a half on 170, trying to get it to the right temperature. Then I'm going to get these mushrooms and these onions and then go down there, put them on the fire under some, olive oil, and make sure get them nice and right. And make sure you toss in a little bacon with that, and then top the steak out with that little gravy. It's gonna be a good night. But this the Hall of Fame, guys. Be looking out for my cooking episodes. I got a couple more of them coming out here real soon. Same time, same place next week. Bradley, I appreciate you. Hall of Fame, guys. We out of here.